Hi everybody and welcome to this week's video of RBX Excel videos. Today we're gonna talk about the offset function. I'm gonna explain how it works and how to use them in your Excel sheet. If you like my video, please give it a like or subscribe to my channel to watch a lot more of my videos. Enjoy this video. So in this video I'm gonna tell you all about the offset function. Well, what does the offset function? The offset function defines a range of cells or a single cell referred to a reference cell. And if we take a look at the arguments of the offset function, we see there are 5 arguments used in this function, and the last 2 are optional. Well, the first argument is your reference cell. It is basically your starting cell. The second argument is the number of rows to go down. The third argument is the number of columns to go to the right. And you can see if this is my reference cell, I go 3 rows down. So the second argument would be 3. And in this case, I go 2 columns to the right, and my third argument would be 2. Well, the last 2 arguments are optional. You can give your range a height and a width. The default setting for Excel is 1 and 1, so a single cell. But if you want to refer to a range of cells, you can enter the height and the width in the last 2 arguments. Well, you can imagine that there are cases that you want to go to the left or want to go upwards. In that case, you can use the negative values. When I'm going minus 3 rows down, I'm going actually 3 rows up. And when I'm going 4 columns to the left, I have to put in minus 4 as my third argument. Well, let's take a look at 2 examples how to use the offset function in Excel. In the first example, we are going to get the turnover from January 2022, which is this turnover, in this cell using the offset function. So we are referring to only one cell and we are not using the height and width arguments. So let me show you how to do that with the offset function. I'm going to select my cell and I just start typing my equal sign and my offset function. My opening bracket, and I already see it needs a reference, a number of rows and columns, and the last 2 arguments, we are not going to use that here. These are optional. So let's take a cell as our reference, and we can basically choose every cell, but in this case the most upper left cell in our table is nice to use. Well, we want to have the turnover from January 2022, so that would be this cell. So for that we need to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows down. So I'm gonna type a semicolon and go to the next argument. We already set 5 rows down, so I type a 5. I type another semicolon and I want to go 1 column to the right. So I type 1. I close my function, press enter, and you see my turnover from January is this, and it equals this. So I found my turnover from January just using the offset function. Well, this was a quite easy example, but what can you do with the offset function when you want to refer to a range? So when you use the last 2 arguments, height and width. I'm going to show you that by calculating the average turnover in the last 3 months in my table. So it would be the average of these 3 cells. I'm going to show you how to calculate that with the offset function. Well, basically we want to start with our average function, but first I'm going to tell you how to get the last 3 cells as a range for my average function. So how do we get the last 3 months, the turnover of the months in our range? We're using the offset function. We are going to start in this cell. We are going 11 rows down to get in this cell. We are going 1 column to the right to get in this cell. And then we're gonna use the height of our range for minus 3. So I'm gonna go 3 cells up. And by that I'm selecting the last 3 months, the turnover of the months. I'm going to show you how. Well, first let me show you how to calculate the 11 cells down. We don't want to type the 11 in our function, because when we add a record to a table, it will become 12 or even 13 or more. We are using the count A function to get the 11 value. I'm going to type count A opening bracket and I select the first column of my table and even a little bit more in case I want to add some more records to my table, and close my function. You see the result is 11 and we are going to use that in our offset function. I'm going to delete this one and I'm going to type my offset function. I'm going to type equal sign offset and an opening bracket. And again, my reference is the most left upper cell in my table. It's the header, this is the month. Well, now we are moving 11 cells down to get in this cell. For that, we are going to use the count A function we just saw. We type count A, select the first column and even a little bit more. Close our count A function. And we are typing a semicolon to go to the columns. Well, my turnover, I want my average turnover, is in the column next to the month. Well, we already said we were in this cell and we're going to move one cell to the right, one column to the right. So I just type 1. So we are already in this cell. So we are going to expand our range with the height and the width option. Well, our range must be 3 cells high, but it needs to go up from this cell. So I'm going to type -3. Well, if I just typed 3, it would expand to the bottom. Well, we extend it to the top, so we type -3. Well, the width of our range is only one column, only this single column. Type 1, close our offset function, press enter. Well, what you see are these 3 cells. It are in here. Well, we want an average of these 3. So we are just gonna adjust our function. After our equal sign, we're gonna type an average function. Open our average function and close our average function. Press enter and you will see the average turnover of the last 3 months in my table. So these 3, the average is in here and we calculated that using our offset function. And what happens when we add another record in our table? I'm going to type another record in my table. I'm going to type a turnover and watch this cell. When I press enter, it calculates the turnover of the new 3 last months. So you actually have a dynamic turnover, average turnover of the last 3 months, only because you are using the offset function. So that's a typical example of how to use the offset function. So you can use the offset function in combination with your average function. All functions that require ranges for an argument, you can calculate that range by an offset function. So that was what I want to tell you about the offset function. I hope you learned a lot of it. I hope you understand the offset function and how to use it in your worksheet. If you like my video, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel to see a lot more of these videos. Thanks for watching.